Lesson number 101 is about ratio problems involving totals. And our question today, it says, the ratio of football players to band members was 2 to 5. Altogether, there were 175 football players and band members on the field. How many football players were on the field? So what we need to do in this question is we need to begin with a ratio box. So if we're going to begin with a ratio box, we know we have the ratio of football players to band members. So we've got football players F to band members B. Now when we build our ratio box, we know we're going to have our 2 rows and our 2 columns, so we can go ahead and sketch that out. And it said that the ratio of football players to band members was 2 to 5. So 2 football players for every 5 band members. That means if there were 10 band members, there would be 4 football players, because that ratio of 2 to 5 always stays the same. Now it says, altogether, there were 175 football players and band members on the field. How many football players were on the field? So what we want to figure out is how many football players were on the field. Now in this problem, what we know is that there were 175 football players and band members. So we're going to have to put that below 175. That's the total number that we have. Now in order to make this work, we're going to have to make a 3rd row. And we know there's 2 football players for every 5 band members, so there's 7 total people. Now we can go ahead, we can make the total row, so we have 3 rows and 2 columns now. Football players, band members, total, for our ratio and our actual. It's nice to label those columns so you know exactly what you mean. So, if we've got 2 football players for every 7 total, we can make a proportion that says 2 out of every 7 total are football players. So out of 175 total, how many are football players? Well, in order to do this question, we've got to figure out our cross products. We've got to multiply 2 times 175, and that's going to be the same thing as 7 times the number of football players, our question mark. So 2 times 175 is going to be equal to 7 times our question mark. We can put this in parentheses so we know it's multiplication. 2 times 175, that's 350. 350 is equal to 7 times our question mark. So we're saying 7 times what number is equal to 350? In order to find our answer, we'll have to divide, because the number must be between 7 and 350. 350 divided by 7. Well, 7 goes into 35 5 times, so 7 must go into 350 50 times. We've got our final answer because we have nothing left over. How many football players must there be on the field? There must be 50 football players. We need our label because it was a word problem. Now that we've got it, we could go ahead and we could box it. And we can move on to our next question. Now in order to do these problems, we need our ratio box that has the ratio of our football players to band members and then the total. And then we can use proportions and cross products to solve to find our answer. We're going to practice this more with our lesson practice on page 548. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.